Welcome back to ReZero Anime Review, episode number 16. This is the 30th episode of the anime, though technically it's also the 6th episode of Season 2, A Step Forward. The episode picks up exactly where the last episode left off. We have Subaru talking to the Witch of Greed in a classroom, and it revealed that all the events we saw in last week's episode was all fabrication, despite the fact it looked like it was the real world. Yep, and the fact that Subaru passed his trial. This is the first of 3 trials. And one thing I thought was so cool about the scene is they see her hopping around various desks, even hops on the teacher's desk, which I thought was so cool. And of course, Subaru telling her, despite the fact he did pass this trial, next trial it'd be Emilia's turn. Well, he doesn't say her name. It's like, okay. Then he leaves, the fabricated world. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with the fact revealing that the whole thing is fabrication because it's part of the story. So I'm not going to fault the animators for doing that. But last episode was really good. This episode, okay. And then we get back to the real world. And it's confronting Emilia because she kind of failed the trial. And she of course, she was hysterical. Of course, she brought back and she decided to just... Well, they brought it back to the house that Roswell said. Not his manor, just a small house where he just calmed down. And then, of course, Subaru talks to Roswell. Yes, he talks to Roswell about the fact he kind of let things happen over the course of the entire series. Yeah, ever since the events of Book 2, which was his first appearance in the series. Yeah, which technically in the anime that was episode 4. So pretty much everything that's gone on, he is allowed to happen instead of stopping it. Because he knew that Subaru basically would come along to help protect her and make sure she gets to win the world selection. Subaru gets upset with him about this. He's about to punch her luck enough. Ram basically stops him. Of course, then when he mentions Ram's sister, Rem, she's like, "Who's that?" And he's like, thinking, "Oh right, she does remember who she is because her existence was completely pretty much lost her memories and their name." Yeah, and then he just leaves, and of course, they also had a conversation with where they have the technically the representative of the sanctuary. They don't have an actual leader, just a representative. Name is Remsu. I don't care what the interesting suggestion about having everyone who is not half breed, basically the villagers are in village, just leave. Don't need to stay. And well, like after the convention from Garfield, they leave, and of course, before the second trial that she goes through, and of course, Subaru has a conversation with him over the fact that Riga did kind of tell him his place, but didn't go into detail. Aside from the fact mentioning his name, he's like, "Yeah, that's typical her." And of course, talking about the whole thing of passing the barrier stuff. And of course, Emilia comes out, failing the trial again. At least she come with in bandages like Roswell has. Yep. And then Subaru says he will stay by Emilia's side, protecting her, though he takes the people back to the village. Then in a couple days, Ram tells Subaru, if you need to know anything about Periga, message from Roswell, tell her Roswell asked the question. And that will reveal everything. So, he takes, of course, he and Otto, of course, Garfield takes close to Bear because he's a half beast. So, people reunite with their family. Wraps up that loose end. And then he goes straight to Roswell Manor. Knocks on the door. No answer. Walks in. The mansion's empty. Like, Frederica's absent. Petra, basically. They do have a little callback a couple episodes back when he had that basically handkerchief wrapped around his hand by Patricia. Yeah, here's kind of the strange thing about this little girl. It's kind of implied she has a crush on Subaru. Despite the fact Subaru is roughly like 5 or 6 years older than she is. But she's a beautiful little girl. But he's not interested in that. He wants Emilia and Rem. Yep. So, he walks around. And then you realize, oh crap, where's Rem? and he runs, and then he just collapses, and then there's blood. Well, guess who's back for the first time since episode 3? Eliza, who in the English dub was voiced by Christina V. Wow, bringing back this character, that's interesting. And she says, "I told you to watch out for your bowels." Yep, it's her in the same outfit. Wow, and what a way to end the episode. So this kind of means that Subaru is going to be having going through the loop again. Yeah, first time in a while he's gone through this. Yeah. I mean, a serious one, not basically forced one like he did when Rem basically lost her mind. And last serious one he did that I can think of before this one was the whole thing. Now he thought it was going to be Portuguese back, but don't worry, that didn't happen. This one looks like we might get a chance to see because Super did die here, but he's not dead. Don't worry, he'll loop back. But what a way to end the episode with that. And I think that pretty much, I think with this episode here, it pretty much finishes adapting book 10. Yeah, I think book 10 is done. Yeah, now moving on to book 11 of the series. Yes, I think that's where we're going next week's episode. So, I'm looking forward to it. Yep, the start of book 11. After being on book 10 for, let's see, since 26. Yeah, for 5 episodes, which, yeah, that's perfectly reasonable to cover a book that is technically 5 chapters, though they did have a couple chapters fill up an episode, like they did for chapter 2 and 3, where these 2 chapters were roughly cover these episodes. And I'm thinking though, like, what was that from chapter 3 from what I can tell anyways? Maybe there's some missing dialogue in that possibly what it was? I'm not really sure what it was. It may have been stuff cut from like chapter 3, I have no idea. From what I can tell, I'm not sure where the stuff from chapter 3 came from because it seems like a lot of the stuff for this episode came from chapter 5. That's what it seemed like anyways. Yeah, but not much to say for this episode. Really good. Definitely looking forward next week, which is the 31st episode of the series. Yep, so that's it for Cyclo Review. I think I will have time to do one more review tonight. That'll be my last review for now for free before I go back to One Piece, okay? But see you next video. Bye.